I Am Batman issue 0. John Ridley, writing, Travel Foreman on art. And I have to say, I'm not like as enthusiastically positive about this
Okay.
as I thought I was going to be. And part of it's a little bit on me because I forgot that I hadn't read the last issue of the digital
Oh,
series.
you got to
Uh,
get there.
yeah, um, which is a bit of a shame. But I was thinking, yeah, but this is an issue 0, which is leading into an issue 1. It should be
Mhm.
new reader friendly, and the fact that I read most of that series means that I should have a better start than most do. But it did kind of feel like it just kind of assumed that you knew a lot. It just kind of feels like it expects you to be just keeping up with Jace and all of his stories so far. And I get why you might want to do that a little bit, but it did feel like it was maybe a little unfriendly if you didn't have an understanding of various things to do with Jace. And I think the fact, especially the next issue, which is an issue 1, although I think issue 0 this also applies to, is that it should be friendly to new readers.
Mhm.
But so much of it, like there's a flashback to Jace when he was training. He's moving out of his parents' place because this is still obviously present day, and it brings into the idea that there's a lot of riots going on in Alleytown right now into the plot, which is nice because
Okay.
it's syncing up with Catwoman a little bit.
Mhm.
And it's dealing with the supporting cast that Jace has had, such as Montoya. Montoya grills out a cop for basically fighting with rioters. But they weren't in a riot. They were having a protest that was planned. They had permits for it, and they hadn't started any trouble. It was the police that started trouble. So it's bringing in some of these topical issues. Even brings up the fact that the protesters are wearing masks. Although the reason why they're doing that is because ever since the A-Day attack, the Alleytown has basically there's remnants of gases and stuff, so they're all being safe.
Mhm.
So it's kind of bringing a topical thing into it, but in its own context, and it sets up again these cop characters who are the main one who's kind of anti-vigilante, her partner Whitaker, who is a bit more pro-vigilante. Uh, but if you hadn't read the digital book, you might be a little less connected to the fact that this love interest from Jesse's past, Hadja,
Mhm.
who was in one of the flashbacks in that story.
Mhm.
She shows up here and they have kind of a moment together. He's got an old war tech bat suit that he's got his computer try to decrypt, or his partner over the comms try to decrypt so he can use the suit, which he does by the end of the issue. He steps in to
Mhm.
help the police and the protesters who basically set off because some of the bad guys who are kind of in the book intentionally start shooting at the police to start to kick things off. But
Oh boy.
he ends up making things look worse because he shows up right away, so it kind of looks like he started it. So hey, why is Batman instigating riots and being the enemy of the people and so on? So he feels very conflicted about that. The big complaint I have though is that there's a whole plot with him going to a ship that's coming in because these bad
Mhm.
guys are up to something, and I don't really feel like the issue really set up the context for who's behind this, who the main bad guy is that's hired these people, or why it matters to Jace, or why he's
Mhm.
trying to stop it. It all kind of felt like stuff that was just kind of lingering from his other books that he's had before, which is a bit of a shame. So I felt a little bit kind of disconnected from that. And I know you can say, oh
Okay.
yeah, you should have finished that other miniseries. I should have, but it is an issue 0. I feel like it probably should be
No,
relatively
you're
friendly.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
I mean that mini was pretty good. I mean for being digital first, which was just the format I was never a fan of.
Yeah, the
You
format I
know,
didn't like either, yeah.
no. So, but no, you're right. An issue 0, you shouldn't have to be. It shouldn't feel like a continuation. You
Yeah.
know. So
So it just kind of
that's
ends
a
with him
shame.
saying he has to be something else. He has to,
Yeah.
take the symbol that his father helped build and sort of turn it into something that represents something he's proud of instead.
Hmm.
So it says,
Fair enough.
next time, I Am Batman begins, basically. Which is a neat plain words, but
Hmm.
I have to admit, I might not read this going forward, and part of it is not because I don't trust it to be better than what I think this issue is, because I'm sure it's going to be fine, if not really good,
Hmm.
but because it is kind of like an extra book on top of so many books that are launching that I do think look really good in the coming months.
Hmm.
I think there is going to be some competition for what I spend my time reading for the show, and I think this one, um, it feels a little less essential now, having read this issue 0, versus like all of these other Bat books. And I know it's kind of a shame because this relatively new character.
Yeah.
I do want to give time to new characters, but and it is well told enough, but it doesn't necessarily feel like, because I guess what I was expecting from this, I was expecting this to be kind of moved on to like a new chapter in JC's story, and it still kind of feels like it's dealing with plot threads from that digital miniseries. And it's not just that I am a little, not lost, but like not quite getting all the details because I didn't finish that book, but I was hoping it'd be more of a fresh start and say, no, that wrapped up, and now he's starting his new chapter and has a new goal. Instead, it feels like it's kind of just rolling into this, and it still feels like we're dealing with the same kind of vague. He trained and was kind of like a spy, and now he's like shifting to vigilante. I was kind of hoping for more of a fresh, more definitive new start of him like going on his path to being like a Bat character, and
yeah.
So I think because of my somewhat disappointment of that, combined with the fact that there's a bunch of books coming, this might be an easy drop, especially come next month when I look at the week and I go, do I want to read issue 1 of that, or do I want to read this other book that started, or this or whatever?
This ring endorsement doesn't make you want to go back and grab it when I have time, even if it's just near issue 0. Maybe I'll just pick up the first issue when it does come out. But I know I enjoyed the digital first for the most part. It definitely feels like they told Ridley they were doing 5G and we want you to write Batman. And so he wrote a bunch of stuff, and they're just kind of like, well, we can't just sit there.
I like the supporting characters, and I like the stuff it's doing with the fact. Like, I think I'm going to make a point of reading issue 1 because there is a chance that issue 1 will actually feel like I wanted it to. Because this ends with him saying, I have to, become sort of my own version of a Batman. Maybe issue 1 will feel more definitively like a fresh start because it is just going to be him starting off in that journey. Maybe it'll explain the villain that he's going after better. So. Yeah, I think I'll make a point in reading issue 1, but I am a little... Right now, I'm feeling like this might be an easy drop. If I don't feel like it is a bit more like a nice start come issue 1, it might be an easy drop just to make room for other things, because there is a lot starting over the next few months that I do want to read.
No, for sure. For sure.
So, it could be a casualty. But this issue, I'd probably give it like a 6.5. It's fine. It's not a bad issue. It's not a badly written comic. And Foreman's art solid. So
that's the thing. Ridley's a really good writer.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so far I've been disappointed by anything that he's written. Even if it feels superfluous, like the one that was in the back of that Gotham Underground, where he got his Robin, or Future State, not Underground. I don't know what I'm talking about. Either way. But he's a good writer,
Yes.
Screenwriting translates to comics pretty well. So they've given him good artists. So yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, and I hate to fall back on that. Also, it doesn't feel that important, because that shouldn't really necessarily be what you base your comic reading on. But it does kind of feel like it is more skippable in terms of being connected. Now, admittedly, at some point he's probably going to interact with some main Bat family members, and it'll probably be interesting and entertaining and worth a look. So I'll see how issue 1 is. I hope I'm into issue 1 more, because I was expecting to really like this, and it kind of left me going, oh, it was just okay. So I hope I feel better about issue 1, and we'll take it from there.